Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the live stream. How's it going? MJSO. Shout out from Davao City, Philippines. Hello, shout out. Hang on just a second. Almost forgot my coffee oil. It left it out of arm's reach. Hi from Malaysia. Hello to anybody watching in Malaysia there as well. You guys can see and hear everything okay? Yes, before we get started? It's like a good spot for that. If so, then let us get started. Let me get this kind of situated here real quick. All right. So yes, hello Leo as well. Today we're going to be building the Glory, otherwise known as the Eternal Star Glory from Supreme Evolution Armament Tactical Series. There, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but yes, it's Armament Tactical. It's kind of a new word there, invented specifically for this mobile suit. Greetings from Colombia. Hey, Angel there in Colombia. Did you see the announcement of the Gym Night Seeker 2 on P Bandai? Yes, I did, Leo. I won't be getting that one, but looks nice. Hello, everyone. Pinkman. I'm going to read that as. I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation for it. And that looks like it's going to be one badass kit, like an advanced version of Stargazer Gundam. Yeah, basically. It's basically like a master grade version of the Stargazer, sort of. So let me go ahead and just get kind of everything, the rest of this all set up here. And we'll get into it. So it is basically like a master grade, but definitely leaning more towards like a little bit on like the simpler side of a master grade. It's not super parts heavy. There's a good amount of parts here, but it's not like after the previous master grade that I've built was the Narrative Gundam, which is very parts heavy. Has a lot of parts going on with that kit. And so in comparison, this is not as much. But it's a fair amount. Yeah, it's basically like a master grade. David said, I have this in my to build pile. Do the clear parts still come with every copy of this kit? Yeah, so I guess the clear parts come with every version, but there is a difference in the clear parts between the first and second batch version. But I don't know. Basically, you can always paint the clear parts. The nice thing about the parts being clear, perfectly clear, is that you can paint them in whatever color you want, which is pretty nice. Been a while. Man, Bond says, hope you're doing fantastically awesome. Thank you, Bond. I'm doing okay. I'll leave it at that. Represent Polly's there on Twitch as well. So if you guys there watching on Twitch, thank you. Or I should say folks watching on Twitch, don't want to make any assumptions, but let's go ahead and get into it. So yeah, in terms of the overall details and everything with this kit so far, my impression is that it looks really, really nice. With what we're going to find out now is like how good is the fit? Are there like any fit issues or anything like that, which I'm honestly not expecting, but I mean, you never know what you might run into. I'm guessing we might have a few parts here and there that are maybe particularly really tight or something, which you'd always prefer them to being too loose or something like that. So it's also not too big of an issue if we come across that, but so I'm not sure what we will see. Looks like for this part here, which is basically the frame of the torso is kind of what we're just building up here first. Oh, and I also will say is that the frame, although it's definitely not a like straight up copy of the like master grade seed frame, it is very similar. It's very familiar. Some parts of it, not everything, but there's definitely just like and obviously I haven't built the kit yet, but in just preparing the parts, I was like looking at some of the parts, realizing that okay, some of this looks pretty familiar, pretty similar to like the GAT frame, Master Grade Seed frame. So we'll see how everything comes together. But this part in here in particular, for this, like, basically it's the articulation point for the ab crunch. It seems to be ratcheted, but maybe it's not. Maybe it just kind of felt that way because it was a little bit tight at first, but maybe not. Okay, scratch that. Anyway, moving on. So that's basically the structural part of that point of movement. Now we're adding a couple more little detail parts on here. I am hoping to, this kit does come with waterside decals too, which is very nice. And I'm hoping to later on, not going to do this obviously during this live build, but I would like to go ahead and add the waterside decals on this. So I'm not planning on painting the kit entirely or anything, but what I would like to do is just show it in the review, just how it is straight out of the box. And then I would like to go ahead and just like throw the decals on and maybe do a little bit of panel lining on it just to make it look a little bit nicer. I do also have the LED set for this as well, which we'll be taking a look at. Again, not now in this live stream, but later on. So let's see. In the review anyway. So just stay tuned for that. We will take a look at the LED set for this. So how are you guys all doing today? Wednesday. I've got good news for some of you, potentially. I don't know how excited some of you might be about this, but I have another live build planned for Friday, if everything goes accordingly. Friday's live build will be part 1 of live building the Zoids HMM Gojulus kit. So it's been kind of a long time coming just because of obviously how many parts that kit has. Got my parts here, which I think I'm going to need a knife too. Parts here for the polycaps. But yeah, the Gojulus, aside from it just having a lot of parts, the other reason why it's kind of taken a long time to even start live building it is because I have also been doing like some panel lining ahead of time on the Gojulus, just kind of panel lining the parts just with pen as I'm going along, because that one as well, similar to this, is one that I'm definitely not going to be fully painting, but I would just like to kind of dress it up a little bit, detail it up a little bit with some panel lining, and I will throw the waterside decals on that kit as well. Some of them anyway. I'm not sure. That one, interestingly, and maybe one of you guys actually might be able to help me out with this, and I'm sure I'll talk about this during the live stream on that build too. But the Gojulus is the Marking Plus version, and so it comes with decals, but it doesn't come with any guide for the decals. And I'm sure there probably is some guide or some kind of reference image that you can find online, maybe. Not that I've seen, though. So if you guys know of one, send me a link or something. That would certainly be helpful. I mean, I can just kind of do my best and just kind of freestyle it, putting on decals just kind of wherever I think they look cool. I'm fine with doing that. But if there is some sort of guide out there that I can at least refer to, and then I can also, make some choices of my own as to where I might want to use the decals or not. But if you guys know of one, send me a link or something, and I can refer to that. But otherwise, no big deal. So yeah, the live build of the Gojulus is, I'm planning on spreading out over 3 live build sessions. So the first part, which again will be on Friday, this coming Friday. In that part, we will be building the head and the torso. That's pretty much it. And like the base of the tail. And then in the next part, we'll be building the rest of the tail and the legs. And then in the third part, we'll be building the arms and the cannons. So yes, the kit Marking Plus version does not come with cannons, but you can get the cannon set separately, and I will be adding that on there. So yes, that's the plan for that. And we'll be starting off with part 1 this Friday. So hope that you guys can join that. That'll be very fun. It should be really cool. It's going to be, it's a kit that had Kotobukiya not sent it to me, I never would have planned to build that kit. It's just too big. But Kotobukiya was kind enough to send one to me to share with you guys. So I figure might as well do it justice and put in that extra little bit of work there just to kind of make it look really cool. And, even short of a full paint job on it, it's still going to be a pretty impressive looking build, I think, when it's all done. Because even though I'm not fully painting it, I am going to, like I said, panel lining, I mentioned. And aside from that, also going to be repainting some of the parts. Not all. Not entirely. So, and then like decals and top coat and everything. So ultimately, in the end, it'll have the appearance anyway of being like a fully painted kit. It just won't actually be completely fully painted. Sort of similar in that way, I guess, sort of like to Josh Dara's GBWC winning Shinanju, where for all intents and purposes, it looks like it's a painted kit, but in fact, it's not. So anyway, this is our cockpit hatch here that I'm building. It doesn't have a cockpit, or obviously without a cockpit, it doesn't have anyone inside the cockpit. So no pilot figure or anything like that, no cockpit, but it does have like a, I guess, what is technically sort of like an opening cockpit gimmick here. Just doesn't actually open up to anything inside. All right, give me just a second. I know I've just kind of been spouting off here and not really paying much attention to the chat. So let me go ahead and just check in with the chat. Jonathan asked if I've watched Stargazer yet. No, I definitely have not ever watched Stargazer. Interestingly enough. And still actually have yet to watch Seed Freedom. So I was planning to watch. If you guys didn't see, yesterday I posted my review for the Mighty Strike Freedom. And I mentioned in that video, in the unboxing portion at the beginning, I mentioned how, wait a minute, hang on, wait, why do I have these parts here? I mentioned in that video that I wanted to hopefully have the opportunity to watch Seed Freedom in between recording of the unboxing and of the review portion of that video. Unfortunately, I was not able to watch it for a couple of reasons. Number one, I just didn't have time. And number two, even if I wanted to, I couldn't because our Netflix wasn't working. So yeah, I had reasons, but anyway, I don't think that that was of too much concern to anyone. So I will say, now that the torso is done here, hang on, after adding this part on the back and the neck part, so far, everything's pretty good. All the details look really nice. There is a couple of parts where the fit is not like quite what I would want. This part here on the top of the chest seems like it's fit in there like well enough at the moment, but it feels like if it might come loose, so it might be a good part to glue later on. And then I don't like how this cockpit hatch part, let me zoom in for you guys. Here, this cockpit hatch part, which does open up there like that I was mentioning about. It doesn't close. I don't like how when you push this down, it kind of leaves a little bit of a gap there. It seems like it's not closed totally. I wish that was a little bit tighter. But I think in the grand scheme of things, once everything's all completely put together, it's not going to be a detail that anyone's going to be noticing. So that's fine ultimately. Oh, anyway, this part right here, this white part on the top of the chest is the one I was talking about that seems not super tight on there. You can see you might want to just, and I probably will do this later, just put a little bit of glue on that and just go ahead and just glue that into place just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. But so far it's looking good. Should also mention to you guys, in case you are not aware, that the gold plated parts you have available. Sorry, let me zoom back out there. You have all the parts that are gold available in clear if you prefer. So if you wanted to use the clear or the gold, you can choose. I'm just opting for the gold just because, like I said, I'm not planning on fully painting the kit at the moment. If I was, then maybe I would use the clear parts and I would paint them in like a, I don't know, clear whatever. But for the time being, I think the gold will look good. So that's what we've got on there at the moment. And the next step is going to be the head. So let's move ahead with that. And on that note, let me see, just like, let me get these parts out here and then I'll move on. I also want to see if I can get this part out. There we go. Couple of things I want to mention here real quick. I think that's everything. Let's see. What's up from Connecticut? What's up, Ray? There in Connecticut. Is the Seed movie only on Japan Netflix? David, no, as far as I know, it's on Netflix here in the US. So you should be able to watch it on Netflix as what I've heard. Like I said, my Netflix wasn't working, but now it is working. So I should be able to watch it. I just haven't checked. Maybe I'll see. Maybe, well, let's see. Tonight I can't. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. The reason why I can't watch it tonight is, well, okay. And then tomorrow night, well, okay. Might as well go in order. We got time to spare because this build's going to take a little while. So can't watch it tonight because I have a meeting with the judges for the next upcoming contest. So I've got both the guest judges lined up for the next contest. They're both confirmed, and we're having a meeting tonight just to kind of go over the contest rules and everything, make sure we're all on the same page and all in agreement as far as to what the contest guidelines are going to be. So normally I don't actually do that. Normally I just kind of do it myself, and just kind of the judges just kind of go along with it, which is fine. I've not ever had any situation where like the judges and I were in kind of disagreement about like maybe the rules shouldn't have been like that or whatever. So, but in this particular case, I wanted to kind of confer with the judges just because this contest is anyway. I just want to make sure that I'm kind of setting what everyone thinks it will be. I think kind of good guidelines for the contest. So. Talking about it ahead of time with the other guest judges too, I think will also help to just make sure that it's very clear for me ahead of the announcement, so that there's no confusion. So that hopefully in the announcement video everything's perfectly clear for people. We've had situations in the past where I thought I explained the theme of the contest in my mind. I thought I explained the theme of the contest perfectly well in the announcement, but then there's confusion. People are confused. Okay, like what exactly did I mean by that? What exactly are you looking for? And so just to make sure that everything is going to be perfectly clear for everyone involved, meeting with the judges tonight, we'll talk about the rules, go over everything, and yeah, then it should be good to go. And so the announcement for that new contest should be next week for you guys, so stay tuned for that. Cannot watch the Seed Freedom movie then tomorrow night either, because I'll be doing my civic duty and watching the presidential debate here in the US. So those of you guys who are US citizens know that this year is even if you're not a US citizen, you probably know, just because US, especially presidential politics, usually get pretty extensive international coverage as well, I feel like. So anyway, the first of what I guess is supposed to be 2 debates total that are planned is going to be tomorrow night. So I would like to watch that. And then Friday night, I probably won't be able to watch it because Friday night is usually when I'm just like doing family and or friend stuff, hanging out with family, friends, and things like that. So that means maybe sometime either like during the weekend, Saturday night, Sunday night, or sometime next week. I can try to see if I can't watch Seed Freedom at some point. But all right, the head's coming together very nicely. But I have this one little teeny tiny red part here. I didn't quite finish preparing yet just because it's so small. I didn't want to lose it. Ugh. All right. Trying to clean up that little teeny tiny piece there. And this one's going to go in the forehead here. Now we do have some foil stickers for this kit. I'm not sure if I'm going to end up really using any of them or not, because I feel like I kind of don't really need to. At least for this part, I'm not sure. I'll have to look and see exactly where those go. Need to get this little part in here first if I can. There we go. Let me see. I want to try panel scribing. What size should I get first? Krinan, good question. And a good question to ask, a difficult question to answer, unfortunately, because kind of depends. So definitely, if just for like line scribing, definitely nothing larger than 0.5 millimeter, I would say. 0.5 millimeter is probably about like as big as you would want to go on something like a master grade kit, a 1/100 scale kit. Now, if you're talking about on like a mega size kit, if that's what you're going to be working on, then it's kind of a different story. But assuming you're not talking about working on a mega size kit, on a high grade kit, probably about like 0.3 or smaller would be probably where you would want to go for that. So that would be my recommendation. I would say getting a 0.3 is probably a good just kind of overall one, because that's like it's on the larger side for 144 scale kits, but it's a good size for 100 scale kits. It will work kind of on both. And then, you know, the main thing when it comes to like panel line scribing is just getting the hang of it. And so, you know, that would be one good size kind of right in between that I think will be good. And then, you know, after you kind of feel like you start to get the hang of it and you want to then, you know, vary up the sizes of your panel lines a little bit, then I would also get maybe something a little bit smaller and something a little bit larger, then also get like a 0.15 and a 0.5, something like that, kind of on both ends that you can get. And there's these days, I mean, before it used to be like BMC, Tsujiboryu, scribers were like the best, and that's what everyone kind of wanted. But they're not producing their products anymore, for one. And then there's also a lot of other companies that are producing good scribing products now. So you can get like MadWorks ones, Display ones for a lot more reasonable prices than what it used to cost for like a BMC chisel. So anyway, all right. Hey, Fire Knight, thanks for the suggestion. Let's see. You guys are talking amongst yourself. Let me see if I can't try to catch up a little bit here. Chester said, greetings from the Philippines. Greetings, Chester. PG 160 scale, Gundam Stray red frame, or MGEX Strike Freedom. Between the PG Stray and the MGX Strike Freedom, I would say the Strike Freedom. It's such an amazing kit. I mean, if you really want something bigger in 160 scale, the red frame is a good kit too. Kind of can't really go wrong. But the MGX is really, really nice. And let's see. Okay, just a second. Hello from Seattle, Hen Toys. Just got this kit to do after I wrap up the In-Era Thunderbolt. I've actually been wanting to check out that kit. I've not built any of the In-Era kits thus far, but the Thunderbolt does look really cool. So I'm actually contemplating be building that at some point in the future as well. So maybe you can share your thoughts. How is it so far? I'm anxious to hear about it, because I mean, I've kind of only vaguely heard about it. And basically just that I haven't heard anything bad about it. So I mean, that just kind of leads me to believe that generally it must be pretty good. But still, feel free to share your thoughts on the kit. All right, we're going to the waist next here, and then let's see, after that, then the arms. All right, let's do it. So far, it does look very nice. The head came together really nicely. Just to give you guys, I guess I didn't show you very close up, did I? Here you go. Now, so the V-fin is in yellow here, but with the LED set, I've got here, with the LED set, you get the V-fin in gold. So that would be right here. And it's a little bit different, isn't it? Oh, sorry, you can't see that. There you go. So the gold V-fin doesn't have, it only has like the main center part, doesn't have the side parts. That's interesting. It's odd. Have like a separate yellow part? Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, kind of wonder why it's like that. It's like a little bit different V-fin design. I definitely prefer the yellow one, though, I have to say, between the two. I mean, the gold is nice, but I like having the kind of extra little bits on the side there. I think the gold one would just be kind of a little bit too narrow looking. But what do you guys think? All right. Know when panel line color will be back in stock, Chris asked. Chris, what particular color are you looking for? If there's a particular color you're looking for, I might be able to answer it better. Otherwise, I don't know. I mean, I could ask generally when we're scheduled to get just a restock of them in general. But is there a particular color you're looking for? I can certainly ask and find out for you. Well, I can certainly ask for you. I might not be able to get an answer, but I will certainly ask. Let's see. Black and gray. Adam, yeah. Do you know if we're getting a restock of the panel line accent color anytime soon? Okay. Next week? Probably next week. There you go. That, like pretty much everything else on the website, I think you should be able to tick the box on the website that says like something like alert me when, or like email me when this item comes back in stock or something like that. You can probably check that box and then you'll be notified like right away once those are back in stock. So yeah. Do that if you haven't yet. These, what I'm kind of struggling with here at the moment is these parts here for the skirt armor. There we go. It's kind of hard to get these little bits on there. Connection pieces here for the skirt armor. It's kind of really tight, but tricky to get pushed in there. There we go. All right, and polycap 1. And these polycaps are interesting because they're not near as soft as like your standard polycaps. I can tell like they're pretty much just like regular plastic parts. They don't really feel too different at all, really. from the standard parts. I wonder what the material is. I have to check here. Let me see. I mean, because obviously normally, normally polycaps are in that much softer material, but it doesn't seem to be the case with this. Let me see. Kind of interesting here for the scale. I didn't notice this. I wonder if it says this on the other runners too. But interestingly, on the runner here, it says, let me show you. Not sure how well you can see that, hopefully. MG1 slash 99.9. So not 1 to 100, it's 1 to 99.9, which is funny. Obviously had to have been a little kind of tongue-in-cheek thing there, I feel like. All right. Tend to do everything in gray, black and white, and some tiny accent part, orange, red, yellow. Actually, I like mechs all primer gray and leave it like that. So classy. Yeah, I've actually thought about that a couple of times, like to just like paint a kit with primer, which looks like some nice gray surfacer, and then just kind of like leave it like that. Or especially for like a kit that's just like work in progress. I actually do, interestingly enough, I have a number of kits like that just here around in my studio. Probably about half a dozen kits that are already painted with primer surfacer and then just sitting there like that, not necessarily on display, but they're just kind of waiting to be painted. But yeah, waiting for quite some time. It's quite a lot of parts here on the back skirt, as we have the white piece and the gold piece goes inside that, and then you have two light gray pieces that you set inside there, and then 4 of these dark gray bits that we set inside there for some more added color detail, and then finally close it all up here with this inside dark gray part here to give you a lot of colors here on the back skirt. And also the back skirt already had little bits of gray and silver already pre-painted on that part as well. So even before adding all those parts, it already had some pre-painting on it already. So very nice. Okay. Next, this is going to be this front skirt part here. The side skirt parts I'm going to be a little bit careful with because they're not symmetrical. So I got to pay close attention, make sure that I'm using the right parts. And also these front skirt parts, I'm hoping it doesn't show that there's any particular order to stacking these parts, but it kind of seems like there should be a particular order to it, but it doesn't say so in the manual. So hopefully that's correct. We'll say the gold plating does make the fit of those parts a little bit tight in some areas. So far it hasn't really been too much of an issue, but the gold plating does add a little bit of tightness there. Should be okay. All right. Need to hop off for some meetings in a few minutes. Stay awesome and have a fantastic rest of the stream. Thank you, Bond. Thanks for stopping by. Gravity Judge, I think, is my all-time favorite design, though. I have that, but saving it for when I feel confident. It's a big kit, but don't feel the need to save it for too long. I think you'll find it's not anything that complicated. Or another way you could think about it is save it as an investment because that's one of those kits that it's probably not ever going to be reprinted anymore, and probably going to be worth quite a bit later on when they're going to be very few and far between and hard to find. So, all right, now we're on the side skirts. I'm going to have to pay close attention, make sure that I'm using all the right parts here. And starting off with this one. Hopefully it's pretty like self-explanatory here. We'll find out very soon. These parts A, H, and 7 are slightly different. Okay. So that one's correct. Really, really nice. And this one here, that's right. And there. All right, it wasn't that bad. I was expecting these parts because they kind of look very similar. Sometimes that can make it a little bit more confusing and trying to make sure that I have the right part. In this method, that's the only kind of downside, and it's a very small downside, but it's the only slight downside to building this way where I've got all the parts for the skirt armor all cut out at the same time. If the left and the right skirt armor are slightly different, I had to pay close attention to make sure I'm using the right pieces, but really wasn't that bad. Oh no, I left out a piece in the back skirt. How did that happen? Oh no, it doesn't seem like it was a super important piece, but uh-oh. I was hoping not to have to take anything apart, but I left out that white piece in there, which is odd because it looks perfectly fine without that, but let's see how it looks with that. I'm guessing basically that white part's just going to fill in that little bit of area right there at the bottom, I guess. It's not really going to make too much of a difference in the overall look, it feels like, but let's go ahead and put that in. Yeah, it definitely does. It adds these little bit of details there at the bottom of the back skirt there as well. So definitely an important piece. So glad not to completely miss that. That's good. Anyway. All right. There we go. And with the torso really only having a couple of little tiny bits of gold there on there, while building the torso, I was thinking like, oh, the gold looks nice, but there's really not a whole lot of it. But there's definitely more of it in some of these other sections. Now that we're getting to the head, had some nice bits of gold on it, and then here in the skirt armor as well, some really nice gold accents on here. So that the gold parts here are really looking good now that we're seeing a bit more of them on the kit. What up, Mercenary? What's going on? Welcome. Just finishing up the waist here and then moving on to the arms up next. There we go. It's looking very good, I have to say. Very nice. All right. Dylan asks, do you have any sort of opinion on the MG and HG Amazing Exia kits? It's a cool kit. The Amazing Exia MG was a P Bandai kit, wasn't it? I think so, right? Amazing Exia. That's the like white version of the Exia Dark Matter, right? Am I not getting it confused? Amazing Exia? Yeah, right? It's like blue and white color. I think that's right. Zix asks, how's the kit so far? So far, very nice. Very impressive. Yeah, for sure. Fits pretty good. Seems pretty solid so far. Looks great. So no complaints thus far. Amazing Exia MG is a web shop kit. Yeah, that's why I thought it's a P Bandai exclusive. So, I mean, If you're a fan of the design, I mean, the Master Grade XC Dark Matter is a lot of fun. I like it a lot, actually. So if you are a fan of the design and want to spend, however much more it might cost because it's an exclusive to get your hands on it, I don't think it's an exclusive that's been reprinted for a while, so it's probably going to cost a little bit more than it would, just because it's going to be at least somewhat rare at the moment. So you're probably going to end up having to pay a little bit more for it. But I mean, if you're a fan of the design, I can at least say that I would feel confident in saying that it's a good kit. Yeah. The HG is also really nice, though. I mean, so if you didn't want to necessarily spend that much, I would say the HG is worth looking into as well. Yeah, very interesting that the polycaps are like not really your typical polycap material. It's a bit odd. See how that might make a difference in the overall feeling at the end, but I mean, so far it's not really. We haven't really used that many of them, for one, and then I'm not sure if it'll really end up making that much of a noticeable difference at the end of the day. We will see. For now, I need it's this gold piece, right? Also, it seems a couple things I should mention just about the parts. Number one, pretty much everything is undergated, which is nice. And then even on parts that are not undergated, it seems that they're designed with the gate placement in mind, where the gates are not placed in areas that would be visible in the final product. So this is the kind of kit like that. As much as I'm an advocate for not doing this, it would be a kit that you could paint on the runners and not have to worry about kind of the typical things that you would have to worry about from painting on the runners. Namely, nub marks from the part removal process, with everything being undergated and or nubs placed in areas that will be covered up. So that's also a plus for some people. I know some people like to do that. This part's a bit odd. Okay. Would you consider ever reviewing the third-party GP02? Yeah, possibly. I just I didn't get one. I'm not planning on getting one personally. We're not going to be carrying it here at USA Gundam Store, so there's not really. I mean, just kind of out of curiosity. I mean, I would be, at least somewhat interested in building the kit and just kind of checking it out. But I just have so much other stuff to build and other things to do. It's just not something that I really wouldn't be the best use of my time, I feel like. So that's kind of it on that one. So unfortunately, not be reviewing it as far as I know at this time. Okay. This last part here on the elbow. And the arm is basically done. Actually, we're supposed to be building the arms ×2 at this part. I have them separated for the left and the right side, but they will go together in the same way. Let's see, I shouldn't put that on yet. We still need to build the shoulder armor, which is going, and this part here too. The gauntlet like on the side of the arm here. I think you should build the Eternal Glory 2.0. Mine is 1.0 because the V-fin is gold and not yellow. What? This is the 2.0 version, as far as I know. Yes. Step said, sorry. Didn't say I think you should. He's just saying I think you are. Anyway, he's, yes, pointing out that I'm building, yes, the 2.0 version, like the second print version of this. Yes, it would appear that way. Okay. Wait a minute. This is like what? Kind of hard to decipher this image here. Hang on. To see exactly what I'm looking at there. There we go. There is a little bit of tightness in pushing some of the parts together. And so I would just recommend you guys to just make sure that if you're building this kit, and especially just like it's a connection like this here, let me show you, be very clear. This white part here needs to connect onto this gray part, or this armor panel right here on the bottom half of the shoulder armor. And all it is just pushing onto here, and then you can see there's just like those 3 connection pegs here, here, and here. Connections like this, just make sure that you're pressing it firmly, because like you might push it in and like these 2 pegs will go in fully, but that third one will not be like fully pushed in because it's a little bit tight. So just make sure you're kind of like pressing everything good and well to make sure that everything's pressed in where it needs to be. So as for this part, let's see. It's like that. It's a tiny little detail part there. Okay. And we can put this together. Would you consider reviewing the? Oh, actually, I already read that. Sorry. So many frame parts must be sanded in order to get to. Oh, Step said that on the 1.0, the frame parts had to be sanded to get them to go together and not be tight. I guess that's good then. Did this kit? Rockers asked, did this kit have an inner frame? Yes, it does have a pretty full inner frame, I guess. I'm not entirely sure, like if you wanted to do like what some people do, where they like just build up the full inner frame first and just be able to like just display as like a standing frame on its own. I'm not entirely certain you would be able to do that with this, although I think so. I'd have to kind of go back and look at it a bit more closely, but I would think that you would be able to do something pretty much like that if that's what you are interested in doing anyway. Interesting. All right. It's got this part here to press down on the top of the shoulder armor. I think that's it. If I can get this here, it's a little tight. And I think it's just because of the gold-plated parts. As I was mentioning before, anything that's gold-plated is going to be a little bit tighter just because it has that extra little bit of tolerance. There we go. But it is a nice tight fit on there. That's good. And that will slide into place. And this one here. Ugh. Ugh. I just want to make sure that that's on there good and well. And there you go. And our hands, we have fully swappable separate hands. So even though it looks like you could just only swap the fingers, it looks like we can make just a bunch of full hands, which is nice. So if you prefer to just swap the fingers, I don't know why you would, but if you did just want to do that, you could. But it looks like we can actually make all of our different hand options separately, which is really, really nice. I mean, at that point, then I'm not entirely sure why they're not just completely like fixed pose. They still have like the movable thumb and the swappable finger parts. It's not really any point to making the fingers swappable if we're going to have all the hand parts included to make them all separately. So the point of swapping is that, you use the one set of hand and thumb and like back part, and then you only swap the fingers. But all right. So we've got closed fists, open hands, trigger finger hands, and beam saber holding hands, or just like regular holding hands. And we don't have any beam sabers or anything, so you probably won't be able to use those. This is another aspect that does kind of remind me of the Master Grade seed kits, as I was mentioning before. So I mean, it kind of makes sense with this being, unofficially a seed kit. And yeah, the fact that it's not using polycaps, it's like polycaps, but they're not actual like soft polycaps. Some of the connections are pretty tight. That if it was like just a polycap, it wouldn't be quite that tight. It would have a little bit more give because it's a softer plastic. But there you go. Looking pretty cool so far, I will say. Let's see. Sexy shoulders indeed. Yeah, I do like that. It's nice design for the shoulders there, and with that gold going through, does look very, very nice. I agree. All right. Build up the other arm here real quick, and then we'll move on to the legs, I guess, what will be next. All right. And so hopefully you guys can see so far, get a good sense of like the complexity of it, as I was talking about at the start of the build. It's pretty much a master grade for all intents and purposes. And yeah, definitely after now, I was kind of thinking this earlier, just based on just kind of going through the parts and getting ready for the build. But now that I've actually kind of a good way into the build, I can say it does feel indeed very, very familiar to building a master grade seed kit. Although it's not exactly the GAT frame, it's very similar to the master grade seed frame, the GAT frame, which is a good thing. It's a good frame. Master grade seed kits are some of the best master grade kits that you can get, so it's good to be similar to those. All right. So now that we've built the one arm, I can kind of speed through this other one here real quick. Shouldn't take too long. Slap this together. And in the meantime, I can check in with the chat there. Small said, hello, I'm trying to get back into the hobby. Any good kit recommendations that has a lot of parts? Well, yes, as I was just mentioning not too long ago, the Master Grade Narrative Gundam Verka, Master Grade Narrative Gundam C-Packs Verka, which just came out not too long ago. Fantastic kit, which does have a lot of parts. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that one. That said, if you preferred 144 scale, but I mean, if you're asking for a kit that has a lot of parts, I'm guessing that maybe you're not looking for a 144 scale kit. Generally, like HG is not as complex. But I will say, just the HG Seed Freedom line has so far been really, really nice. So I mean, they are relatively parts heavy, I guess, just as far as HG kits go. So I mean, depending on what exactly you mean, like how many parts you want. Still got the Sword of Calamity full mechanics on the way. Personally, I skipped that one, but I'm sure that one will be pretty cool. Just the kind of regular Calamity was enough for me. Not really a fan of the color scheme of the Sword of Calamity. That orange color, which I'm not at all against the orange color scheme. I don't know, it just kind of looks a bit odd on that one. Obviously, you could repaint in whatever color you want, but I don't know. And that's the whole sword aspect. I don't know. Didn't really do it for me, but I also didn't opt for the Ale Calamity either. Gale? What was it? Gale Calamity? The other P Bandai exclusive kits, which we never is the first time to have that in any kind of kit form. They're like with the sword. Well, is there an HG Sword Calamity? Now I'm kind of thinking, was there an HG Sword Calamity kit ever or no? Maybe there wasn't. Is there any other kit version of the Sword Calamity? Maybe not. I'm just thinking like I've seen it before just because I've seen different people do like builds of the resin kit. So that's why I'm thinking I've seen it before, but I don't know. Ale Calamity is what the Calamity should have been, but wasn't. Oh, interesting. Is that like a lore thing you're talking about, you mean? Like that was the original design for it, like in the series? I was not aware of that. Because yeah, before the kit came out, it wasn't a version of that design that I was really familiar with. You know, I'd seen the Sword of Calamity and I don't know what's the other version of it. And there's another one that I'm drawing a blank on at the moment. Final design. Okay, interesting. Yeah, did not know that. There you go. All right. Other arm here is done. Let me just put these hands together real quick and kind of assemble everything. And we can move on to the legs. So, all right, there's that. Shoulder. And there. And we're done with the upper body. Not including the backpack, of course. We'll get to that momentarily. Well, probably be a few moments later after the legs, but we'll get to it here in a little bit. So far, how do you feel about the build? So far, it's nice. Yeah, like I've been saying, I mean, there's a few bits where it's kind of a little bit tight, but I mean, you would prefer that from the opposite of being too loose. So I mean, it's not a bad thing at all, and it hasn't been so tight that like I need to sand something down in order to get the parts to fit or anything like that. So just kind of slightly tighter than what you may be used to if you just build Bandai kits all the time. So I mean, like the fit's gonna be, you know, slightly different feeling, but generally pretty nice. And then yeah, the other thing, like I mentioned before too, is that if you've built a number of the different master grade seed kits, you're also going to feel pretty comfortable with this. It does have a very similar feel to it, the overall build. So yep. Is there any noticeable differences from the first print? I believe so. I'm not entirely sure. I know that like the clear parts are a little different. The main like color of the armor is a little bit different. I think on the first run, the armor color was like a more of like a light gray, and this one it's like off-white, which I definitely prefer. It's like off-white, pretty much white for the most part, and then like an accent of light gray. Whereas the original, like the first print run, it was like a light gray and then like a slightly darker light gray, something like that, I guess. And then I think like someone was saying before too that I guess the V fin was also gold on the original version, possibly on like the 1.0 printing, the first printing of this. It's not like a 1.0, 2.0 version. I feel like that's just like a first print, like a first run exclusive, second run kind of thing. Be careful, the ring connectors on the backpack. Okay, will do. Remember there being a conversion kit. Reiji says a conversion kit for the HG Sword of Calamity and a full kit of it as an exclusive or prize giveaway. Huh, interesting. The armor color and the V-fin are different. Yeah, right. Yes. Plem Evo. Yes, is confirming that there for us. Okay, legs. Let's do this. So as much as I do enjoy the design of the Stargazer, one thing that I don't really like about the design is the back of the legs. Although that part of the design looks much better in this version, I will say. The kind of big thruster part on like the backs of the lower legs. It looks kind of very ugly on like the HG kit, for example, but this one I think looks pretty good. All right. Quite a few parts here, as you can see, for the legs. Let's get into it here. And yeah, so just to recap again for any of you guys who are coming in later, didn't hear me talking about this earlier. The next contest will be announced in full for you guys next week. So stay tuned for that. Tonight I'll be meeting with the judges to kind of finalize the guidelines for the contest for you guys to just to make sure that everything's as clear as possible. And then Friday, if you guys will be around, I'll be doing the first of 3 live build sessions on the Zoids HMM Gojulus Marking Plus version. So hope that you guys can join for that. All right, the thigh frame. It's a very familiar frame here. But we do have the addition of this gold piece, which is going to be on the back of the thigh. And this one here. The sliding part on the front of the thigh is going to be for the thigh armor to be able to slide when you bend the knee, which would be nice. And okay. Our knee frame here. Yeah, the leg frame definitely is very much like a seed gap frame. Like the way that the knee frame kind of goes together at the thigh, especially in the lower leg is probably going to be a little bit different just because of this design having that kind of unique aspect to the lower leg. Let's see. That goes up. Doesn't go inside there. No. Okay. Hmm. Okay. That. And where'd it go? Right here. Yeah, because the polycaps are not polycap, normal polycap material. Definitely a little bit tighter fit. All right. Tito, what's up? And quick guest, sweet. I'll be considering joining, depending on the kits and my ambition levels. Yeah, I think it's one that will be challenging. But that's the point, is that it'll hopefully be a good opportunity for you guys to try something new, maybe, or just to try challenging yourselves a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. Trying something maybe that you haven't tried before. I like to be able to give you guys that opportunity when it comes to the contest. So hopefully you'll all be able to enter and you'll all enjoy it. Uh-oh. All right. Do you think or would want any media, anime, movies, video games, etc., based on Kotobukiya's IP? I saw an ad for a video game that had characters that look similar to Hexagear kits. I mean, Kotobukiya did have their Frame Arms Girl, so it was a very short-lived Frame Arms Girl series, right? Anime series that I guess I've not actually seen it, but based on what I've heard, wasn't so well received, I guess. But I don't know, if I had to choose any Kotobukiya IP that I would like to see as a anime or something, and if I had to choose, I mean, I would say that I would either like it as an anime or a movie. I don't really play much games. I mean, if it was a game, it just wouldn't be something that I would really have the opportunity to enjoy. So anime would be my preferred medium for that. But I would say, I mean, Sosai Shoujo Teien seems like it's a pretty obvious candidate for an anime adaptation. That would kind of make sense, and I guess you could like tie in, because of the fact that in like the lore of the plastic model kits, the Sosai Shoujo Teien series and the Megalomaria series are intertwined. I know that like other series are also kind of intertwined there as well. I'm not as familiar with exactly how they're supposed to be connected, but something along the lines of the Megalomaria series is a TV show in the Sosai Shoujo Teien universe. So if they had an anime based on Sosai Shoujo Teien, they could also include, you know, characters or models or whatever from Megalomaria. So that'd be pretty good. Arcanadia. Yeah, Arcanadia. I mean, the characters are so different in the Arcanadia series. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they could, I mean, it's anime after all. They can find ways to tie all that stuff together, basically under just kind of an umbrella of being some sort of like magical world or whatever, right? But the character designs are quite different. I mean, you have like a angel kind of one, and the most recent release here, which I've got in my build queue over here that I need to build and review for you guys, the horse one, the Elena kit. It certainly wouldn't be my preference between them, But yeah, I mean, I do agree that that would also work pretty well. Okay, but this part here for the knee, it's very interesting. Wait a second, that's not right. Is it? Yeah, it is. Okay. Easier to bend the knee a little bit to get this part out. Quite a long knee part here. But I think that when the leg is closed up, it's not like when you're looking at it from the side view, when it's all closed up, you don't really notice how large this knee part is because it kind of all like blends together into the leg. But when you bend it and the big knee part is sticking out there like that, it's quite large. Okay, let's see. Next, well, we got that. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this on here first. Which is better, Stardust Memory or Zeta Gundam? As far as like just like anime series go, that's a tough call, and I know probably people are going to be mad no matter what I say, but I don't know. If I had to choose one, I would say Stardust Memory, just because I kind of prefer the mobile suit designs a little bit more with that series. But that's pretty much it. It's kind of the only real reason. Like story-wise, they're both good, so you kind of can't really go wrong with either of them. But just in terms of the mobile suit designs, I think I probably have a little bit more of a preference for Stardust Memories, maybe. But it's tough. What do you guys think? I'm skipping ahead here for a moment, putting this part here together. There's a like ankle armor that goes on like the side of the ankles. I just kind of skipped over for a moment while I build that part. Because I knew this would happen, that I'm trying to figure out which parts for the left side and the right side. It's going to take a moment. That's going to fit onto here. This is another part that I feel like probably would be a good idea to glue, because it's not super tight on there and it's a tiny little part, and I would hate to have that go missing. So we'll probably opt to put some glue on that. There we go. It's also kind of tight in there. I'm wondering if the reason why this is not fitting quite right, it's a little tight in there, it's probably because there's a little piece of nub. Yep, exactly what I expected. There's a tiny little bit of plastic stuck in there that was blocking this from pushing in there fully. So, all right. Victory is still better overall. Someone said, Tito said both are good. Also, Double Zeta is a great follow-up to Zeta. You need to watch 0083 before you take on Zeta. Interesting. It definitely feels tighter on that side than it did on the inside. But there's that. Then back to this part. It's this part here for the back of the leg. So basically, we'd build up the entirety of the leg without this part on the back. And you could just kind of leave it like that if you wanted to. There's like a gap right here where that part fits into. But if you really really didn't like this part on the back of the leg, you could build it without it, looks like. That goes on there. We'll say the details and the part separation is really, really nice. It's definitely a kit that is going to look good even just straight out of the box without doing anything else to it. Now, like I was saying before, I am planning on doing a little bit more to it. Not again, not painting it fully, but I do want to add some decals and a little bit of panel lining on it, maybe. Just a little bit extra to dress it up a little. I think that'll look nice, but there's that part added on the back of the leg there. So yeah, I mean, it looks better than it does like on the HG. It's an interesting design feature. Looks awesome on the shelf. Is in size of Bandai Seed MGs, like the Buster. Yeah, it's like I was saying, the frame feels very familiar to other Seed MGs, and definitely one part of that would be that the size is going to be a good fit too. Just next to those kits on the shelf. All right, this is the last of our polycaps, yeah. And again, these are polycaps in nature of how they're used and like how they look, but very different in terms of the feel of them. All right. I was trying to see earlier what material they're made out of, because I'm almost wondering if they're ABS plastic. They almost kind of feel a bit more like ABS. But it doesn't say on there as far as I can tell. Okay, this one goes where? Like that. Wait. And what? Wait a minute. Oh. Uh-huh. That's weird. Very interesting construction here for the foot. Not exactly sure why this part needs to be hinged, why the top of the foot needs to be able to open up. Is that a thing that the Stargazer does, that the top of the foot opens up? Like when it's in its like high speed mode or whatever? It's not something that I'm familiar with. It's all high speed mode is also probably not exactly the right word for it, but you guys know what I mean anyway. All right. Foot looks good though. Again, those gold parts look really, really nice. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, okay. There we go. Yes, let's see. Evil. So isn't it a design based on Stargazer? Yes. Ugh. That's tight. But looks pretty good. So there's the leg. This gauntlet too on the side of the arm here. I feel like I'm probably gonna want to glue just to make sure that doesn't go anywhere either. But there's the leg. Let's get this other leg built up so we can finish this thing. And I got these couple of parts here. Where do these parts go? Do they go somewhere on the backpack or something? So I had them here with the torso, but that's not where they go, right? Right? Where did these parts go? It's on the backpack? No. Is it on the backpack somewhere? Oh yeah, it is on the backpack. Okay. All right. Well, we'll be there soon enough. Yeah, arms for the rings. Yes, I figured that out. Thank you. Let's see. All right. Now I can go ahead and cut off all the rest of the polycaps as well here, but let's go ahead with this. All right. Any other questions that you guys might have about this build, about this kit specifically at the moment? I'll do my best to answer for you guys. Or just questions about anything. Welcome to ask away in the chat there. But yeah, after this leg, we just got, well, I guess aside from the backpack, there is also a weapon, which is more than I think what the Gundam is like typically supposed to have, right? But it's going to be a very quick construction of the weapon. It's only a couple of parts. How is the wife and family? My wife is doing well, thank you. Finished her chemotherapy and is now going to be later, end of July or something like that, I guess maybe. We're not exactly sure yet, but at some point in the near future is going to be starting some radiation therapy still yet she needs to do, so not entirely done yet, but almost. And so she's job hunting now to just before she got her diagnosis, she had just been hired for a new position and she was excited about it, and then that happened. So yeah, but she's gonna be figuring that out and just kind of hopefully getting back to kind of normalcy. Yes, looks like unicornish freedom astray. Yeah, I mean the all white, like the mostly white design is going to be very reminiscent of the unicorn, of course. Yeah. As you can see, for the second leg here, I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit. It's more, I just need to refer to the instructions occasionally, like when building arms and legs. Usually the first one, obviously I need to follow the instructions, and the second one's more so kind of like I have a general idea of how everything goes together, and I might need to just double check something in the instructions. But what do you do with all the kits you've built over the years? Well, most of them I have, and they're just like just packed up for the most part in boxes, and I don't keep all of the boxes, so it just kind of depends. Most of my like Gundam kits, I usually don't keep the boxes for them. And so like I'll have one kit, one box with like 5 kits packed inside of it. And because for me, if it's a kit that I'm keeping, then I'm keeping it for the purposes of ideally at some point in the future painting it. That's yeah, I think I need to. Oh no, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so they're just in the box, just to await, hopefully maybe being used for painting or for parts for a custom build or something at some point in the future, ideally. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing special. And if it's a kit that I know like with certainty that I just have like no interest in ever possibly wanting to work on any further, then usually I just sell those or something. So yep. That's pretty much it. All right. Can you make a video going over the similarities and differences between this and the Stargazer? I mean, in my review video, the short answer is no. I can't, Jebby. Just because, I mean, like, if you're talking about like the similarities between this, because we don't have, like, if there was a Bandai Master Grade Stargazer to compare it to, then yes, and it wouldn't necessarily be like a dedicated video. It would just be something that I could, discuss in the review of this video or in the review of this kit. But considering that we don't have any Master Grade Stargazer kit to compare this to, I could compare it to the HG. It's not really a very fair comparison, and I could compare it to like the original design, and obviously this is like a stylized version, so there's some design differences and liberties taken with the design, partly to make it slightly less of a copyright infringement, and partly just to make it kind of more cool, more edgy in its design. So, I mean, there's kind of comparisons, I guess, that you could discuss about, but I think there's probably not really too much noteworthy really to go over in terms of like comparing one to the other, because it kind of depends on what exactly you're comparing. I'm shocked you said my name right. Most people don't. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you're welcome. Jebby seems pretty straightforward. I don't know how people will be mispronouncing that, but I guess I am a bit of a linguist. I don't know. Weird question. Why isn't Bandai doing more marketing for the upcoming Stenjustein MG? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I mean, like, I don't know what necessarily marketing they could or would or should do. If I was in charge of the marketing, is there ideas that I could come up with of things that I think would be good ways to market that kit? Yeah, I guess so, probably. I mean, I hadn't really put much thought into it, but in that scenario, if I was, in the marketing department at Bandai, yeah, I guess there's definitely more that they could be doing to promote that kit. It does kind of have that feeling of a kit that, even no one at Bandai is really all that excited about it coming out. It's just kind of like, yeah, well, we know it's pretty much just the same kit coming out again, so here you go. And that's kind of the extent of it. Where personally, I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to that kit. I think Stenjustein's a fantastic kit, and although it's mostly just a rehash of the same kit that we already have in 2 other different versions. There are some new aspects to it, and so I'm looking forward to it. It's a fantastic kit, so I mean, a good kit is a good kit still at the end of the day. So I'm excited about that. But obviously there is going to be a lot of people who maybe already have 1 or 2 versions of the Master Grade Shenjustan already who are just going to be like, no, I don't want another one of those. So, I mean, yeah, that certainly is true. But personally, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know. That's all I can say. But yeah, it does kind of get the sense. And to be fair, I'm not like super tuned into like, I don't, I'm sure I follow like, I do. I know I follow Benda on Twitter, but I'm not following like every single post that they put out either on Twitter or on like the official YouTube channel or stuff like that. So it's possible there is more that they've been doing to promote that release that I just haven't seen. But yeah, I certainly haven't seen much. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It does definitely fit that that Simpsons meme though, of it's the Barbie doll, but this one has a new hat meme. So I get that. But as it goes with any release, some people will be excited about it and others will not be. It's not too often that we have kits that like everybody is stoked for. There's always going to be kind of mixed opinions about different kits. That one I feel like in particular is, because it is a kit that is essentially just a rehash of a kit that we have 2 other different versions of. I get that there's a lot of, probably even more so than normal, a lot of people feeling like not so interested. But yeah, I don't know. I agree that Bandai doing some more and or better marketing around the release could certainly help to at least build the hype up a little bit. Definitely. Okie dokie. All right. I'm going to leave that off for the moment. Make sure we don't have any stray plastic in those parts this time. Be getting in our way. And there we have it. Whoa. Okay. Wow, like amazing. Yes, indeed. Oh man, didn't realize you were live today. Hi everyone. Hi David. Yes, if you're just coming in now, you have missed most of the stream. We have a little bit here left to go. And you're seeing the best part anyway. The final assembly, which we are just about on as, oh, that's interesting. Just getting our second of 2 legs. In fact, this kit does come with 2 legs. We'll put the second one on the kit here, and then we'll move on to the backpack. Make sure that's all the way in. There we go. And we lost a skirt armor piece on the way. Okay. There we have it. The full body. What was it? The bleach blonde, bad build, butch body. Here you go. Little inside joke there. For those of you, not so much an inside joke, but a very obscure reference joke there. I guess if you guys don't follow American politics too closely, that one probably flew right over your heads. All right. That's actually, I was talking about building the backpack next. We actually need to build the, well, we don't need to. Actually, following the manual of the backpack is next. I'm going to skip ahead to the rifle here real quick first, and we'll come back to the backpack. We also have an action-based adapter and a couple of clear parts. This is for like clear parts that fit on the backpack. I do have these are kind of already somewhat put together here like this. So there you go. A good reference. Thank you. Glad someone caught that at least. That made it worthwhile. A couple people did. Nice. All right. Rifle. Let's see. So yeah, the Stargazer. This is how you know that it's not actually the Stargazer, even though it may look like it. In fact, it's not, because many of you may know the Stargazer, in fact, does not have any weaponry. This one does. Shame that it's only a beam rifle, though. Shame that it didn't come with like some sort of beam saber or something like that as well. That would have probably needed a way to actually plug onto the body. So like the nice thing about this is that the rifle is just handheld, so they don't need to like change the design in order to make it work with well, like, let me put it to you this way. If they made it like having beam sabers, then they need to change the design or to have somewhere to put the beam sabers on the design. So like add parts on the backpack where the beam sabers are connected, where obviously the original design does not have that as like a part of the design on the backpack. Whereas with the beam rifle, you can just have it in hand or not. It doesn't need to attach onto the kit in some way or anything. The Stargazer uses a beam pistol in the OV. Oh, are you sure about that? Okay, I'll take your word on that. I was under the impression that it did not use any weaponry at all, but there you go. I guess maybe it did. My favorite, my Gunpla, my MG Gunpla, my favorite. Thanks for this, everyone. You're welcome. This part, oof, a little bit snug there at the front. Guess that's just going to be the way it is. This part here, but kind of cool that this beam pistol can be a beam rifle if you so choose. You can opt to use the extended barrel or not, depending on your preference. So let's see. Since you're telling me that in the anime it's a beam pistol, maybe for the sake of this build, I'll leave it as the pistol for now. Let's see. This part, which is supposed to fit on there, it's kind of snug. Ooh, tight. Mm-hmm. Oof. Not sure I'm ever going to be able to make this as the beam rifle because this barrel tip part's really tight on there. But there we have it. Okay, so there's that. And yeah, you can choose to use this extended rifle here. You just have to take off that part, right? You really only take off both of those parts or just the one? Yeah, it seems like both, right? Okay. Anyway, so there's that. Now let's build the backpack. So we got a couple of bits here. Let me just go ahead and toss these over here. Have you seen any motor nuclear kit that piqued your interest? I don't think so. Not really. I really like the color separation of those weapons. Yeah, it does look pretty good. I mean, like the rest of the kit in general, the color separation on it is really nice. Is there any news on the arrival of the RE100 GPO4 to USA Gundam Store? Someone asked about that on the live stream last Friday, and I think Adam said that that's coming in sometime this week, possibly, or next week. But yes, very soon. I think he said it was on the way, if I remember correctly. So it should be here pretty soon, yeah. Anyway, I could shout and ask about, yeah. Like I said, I think he said it's on the way. How is the quality of the plastic? And are there any fitting issues with this kit? Alfredo asked. Yeah, as I mentioned, it's not bad at all. It is definitely like slightly different. It's like noticeably different. I mean, it just kind of depends on like your experience too. If you've built like a couple of Bandai kits, you probably won't notice any difference. If you build a bunch of Bandai kits, then you might be able to notice like a slight difference, but it's really not going to be any kind of big difference. Did you all hear about they're going to be reusing the parts of the moving Gundam for a new Gundam statue? No. Well, I saw like very briefly something about that. I saw, I think like on Twitter, someone was quote retweeting a tweet about that. So I didn't actually look at like the quote retweet, but I did see it's like a kneeling or like just like the bust of it, or it's kneeling down anyway, shorter, and like with the arm raised up, something like that, right? That's what they're gonna do with that. They're gonna have it at the World Expo. Yeah. The green general themed motor nuclear looks pretty good. Not that spiky. Yeah, it's one of the things about a lot of these like third-party designs. They're very spiky. It's a good way of putting it. Too much for my taste. That's why I like this one. It doesn't have a whole bunch of spikiness going on with it. It's a quite like edgy design in terms of like all these hard edges and sharp details and stuff, but it doesn't have like stuff sticking out all over the place. And yeah, Rage said it'll be in a kneeling pose. Yeah, that's what it looked like, just from, like I said, a very small image that I very briefly saw about that. Yeah, it looked like it's kneeling or something. I think someone was making the point in the post, something about how like now we're going to get new model kits of it, another variant model kit where it's in that kneeling pose. And I mean, like, why not? I'm cool with it. This part doesn't have a front or back side, does it? Doesn't look like it. So I think we're safe here for this to slide out like that. Ooh. It's like a track that slides on. Once you get it all the way up to the top, though, because I don't have that pressed in all the way, I guess. Once you get this all the way up to the top, it is kind of loose there. But that's okay for now. Leave that there. And quite a lot of pre-painting that you can see on this part for the sides of the backpack. See, it has silver and these silver and gray bits on the side of here are already pre-painted there for you. Very nice. And this part. Oh wait, there was another step there that I missed. I have to go back to that section here real quick. All right. Okay. That's good. This part here at the top. That goes on there. Interesting. That's the other thing that like about the original Stargazer design. There's two things that I'm not really a big fan of. Number one, I talked about earlier, the parts on the back of the leg. The other thing is the like center part of the backpack. It's just like this. I mean, people talk about like the 8th MS team refrigerator backpack, but the Stargazer backpack is a pretty ugly looking, weird thing on its back. Never really been a big fan of. This one I think is just like with the legs, the backpack is a little bit more nicely designed to be not quite so ugly. There we go. It's going to be for the center part before we have the arms and everything connected onto there. Which, how are those going to connect onto there? Anyway, using some of these parts, we'll see. Okay. Does this kit include those green rings? No, that would be with the LED set, which I do have, and I will be showing that in the review, but not right now. But yes, you can check out the review later, and I will also cover the LED set. Yes. Is that upside down, or it just looks kind of odd? And is there another part that fits over the top of that? There isn't, is there? It's kind of weird looking, though. I feel like I put that clear green part in there. It looks upside down to me. And I want to take it out, but I don't think it'll be very easy to get out of there. I don't have my drill at the moment. My drill set is at home, which I would be able to use to drill that out from the backside. I'm going to see if I can't carefully pop this out. The good thing is that this is like one of the very few parts that I do have an extra of. There is actually a leftover part of that. It doesn't look like there's a top and the bottom of that. It is kind of weird though. This clear green piece here for the back seems like there should be a piece that fits over the top of that, but there isn't. That's really weird. And there's not any other photos. I have to check some other photos of it. So you got this piece right here, and this clear green piece, and it seems like there should be another piece that then fits over the top of that, but there isn't. I don't know. That's different. Okay. So let's move on for the moment. This is all going to be ×2, this section. Like that. Which version did you get, the black or the gold? This is the second run version, I believe. So I don't know anything about anything being in black, but I know the V-fin is a different color. It's the V-fin on the original kit, or I keep saying the original kit. That's the trouble. It's not a question of like a 1.0 or 2.0 or like an original version versus a different version. It's basically like a first run printing versus second run printing is this kind of the right terminology, I guess, is what we should be saying here. And on that note, yes, one of the differences is that I guess the V-fin is different. On the first run, the V-fin is gold, I guess, and on the second run, the V-fin is yellow, as you can see here on mine. This one should be opposite. Kind of a snug fit here. And there should be one more of these. All right. I plan on painting mine with the hollow Gundam markers for the clear parts. Second batch also lost the colorful effect parts. Now they're just clear. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, pros and cons to that. I mean, like I was mentioning earlier, I think for the clear parts being in plain clear rather than like the Aurora clear or whatever, I'm not exactly sure how they would describe it, but it's sort of like a clear color on the first run. Yeah, I mean, personally, I would kind of prefer the plain clear because then you can paint them in whatever color you want. Although, like, to paint them in like that kind of clear Aurora color, I mean, would be, I guess, like somewhat more difficult to do. That's weird. It's kind of a weird misprint here in the instruction manual. It's kind of odd. All right, let's see. Yeah, some of the parts here, especially now towards the end, because for like the connection arms for the ring parts, obviously there's like a lot of little connection parts here to make these articulated arm parts for that. So there's a number of different parts that need to go together here. It's more opportunity to have parts that are really tight, but there's definitely some tight fitting little pieces here towards the end. But I do want to make sure that I have everything together as firmly as possible. So that's going to go like that. And and we can put this piece on, which I was confused about before, where that goes. And it doesn't seem like, okay, it does, I guess, make a slight difference. But let's see. The left and the right side, there is a very slight difference in kind of the very top part of this part. Bear with me a moment. Almost done. Just focusing to get through this part of the build here with these connection arms. Make sure not to miss anything. Mine have the green effect parts that I'm not the green effect though. My first batch, I'm not aware of any version of this that included the effect, like the green effect parts, the rings parts with the kit. I mean, as far as I know, it's always been a separate exclusive thing. But maybe there was a version. Maybe it was like a version. I'm not sure. Okay. All right. So that's not correct. I'm going to have to take these off of here again. Bear with me for a moment. Because I had that wrong. It's the kind of part where the part separator, as great as a part separator is on this type of part, it doesn't really do a whole lot of good. So I put these upside down, and like I said, there's a very slight difference. So unfortunately, I have to take this off and put it back on the other way. And let me double check, make sure that that's right. I don't think so. Like that. And okay, should also not forget this part here. All right. There we go. It's basically like a. It's kind of funny how these basically look like a Gundam's forearms. There essentially, and just rather than hands, they have these connection parts there at the very bottom, where those are going to connect onto the rings. And I have the parts for the rings right here. Let's see. I think the store I bought from just sell them together as one set. Okay, that could be, yeah. Yeah. Raibyo, I think that would probably be my guess. That whatever store you got it from, yeah, they probably just sold the LED set and the main kit just like as a set. Yes, that does make sense. Oh, great. This is also slightly different here. Let's see. If I can't figure out which one's which. Although they don't strike me as being very obviously different. It's probably going to be some slight difference that's not obvious, but it will be very obvious once I actually get this put together. Because, okay, yeah, the gold part, I can definitely, okay, I see. So that part's not very different. But what is different, this one has a hole on the top for that part right there. All right. And one thing that's going to make a big difference into how effective the connection arm is for these ring parts is just how heavy these are, that the connection arm needs to be able to hold up these ring parts with a fair amount of ease. And they don't seem too terribly heavy. I think it should be okay. They are quite large, that's for sure. But let's see. So then we got a few of these parts that go on here. I don't think these are any different. It's basically just two different types of these white parts here. RE100 is basically dead at this point, together with high resolution. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I hope not entirely dead, but yes, at the moment, for all intents and purposes, yes, the RE100 and the high resolution lines, yes, are both apparently not Bandai's priority at the moment, I guess we could say. Huh. So this one actually is going to be a little different right there. That said, I still have hope that essentially, I mean, the RE100 line is synonymous with the full mechanics line. I mean, it just kind of depends on whether it's a UC design or not. And so I still have hope that the RE100 line will come back if the next release that Bandai wants to make is a UC era design. Then in that case, it will be RE100. But if it's another non-UC design, then it will just be another full mechanics kit again. Don't know yet what that might be, if anything, so we'll just have to wait and see. But that's my hope. It could be that they're just not going to make any more UC era designs. They're just going to basically use that slot for just non-UC stuff that they want to make in 1/100 scale, but not full-on master grades, basically. That could be just like the extent of that. Master grade drought. I mean, it's not exactly a master grade drought considering we just got the narrative Verka and then we're about to get the Sandra Stein narrative version Verka. I mean, though, like we were talking about earlier, I do understand that that's pretty much just a rehash release, but you know, it is a master grade release. So, and the narrative's entirely new. Kind of again. Mostly, we did have a slight reusing of some of the Unicorn Gundam's inner frame, but not much. And really just kind of depends on which version you build too, anyway, of the inner frame. I think it's a better idea to put this part in first. This is our last couple of parts here for this kit. These parts here, which are just going to be how we're going to connect the ring onto the backpack. And that's going to be it. It's kind of for all like this whole, these like quite hefty connection arms that we made. The actual connection to the ring is just like this one little peg here. Seems like not really the most substantial thing, but it just kind of all depends on how it works in practice. And at the moment, it's looking pretty good. I mean, I'm not, I gotta say, with all the kit having this really nice, almost monochrome color scheme to it, being like white, off-white, and then like yellow and gold for our accents. There's a little bit of red in there too. I like that. And then like the kind of the clear green kind of is a little bit of an abrupt like color choice. I don't know. But there's that. And there we go. It is done. Let me back it up a little here for you guys so you can see that a little bit better. There we have it. So yeah, I do have the LED set. Like I said, I'll show that in the review. And also have like these effect parts that like fit on the ring there. That I'll show you some more about that later. Jordan said, be careful with loose arms holding the ring. I saw a lot of people breaking it. I'll be careful. I'm always careful. Careful is my middle name. But yeah, cool kit, definitely. Definitely going to be back heavy. We do also have this included though too. To help out with that, we have this part, which I didn't look to see exactly how this is actually used, but it's basically, let's see if I can just figure it out just by looking at it. Okay, no, this actually fits up underneath the backpack here like that. As like a kind of tripod, very similar to like what we had with the Hainu Verka. It has this kind of like third leg base here that kind of is a little bit too short, I feel like. Let me see if I can work out the pose. It feels like it needs to be slightly taller. There you go. You can kind of adjust the pose accordingly and make that work. It is pretty tight, but like I said, being a little bit on the tighter side is probably for the better. And there's another little part in here. Where's that? I'm not exactly sure how this is supposed to go. Let me just see here. Okay. Wait, what? It's like this little part. Have a look. This little clear part. And what looks to me is that this is right here where it's like just a connection piece for connecting the ring together when you want to have the ring completely separated off the Gundam, so not connected onto the backpack. But those parts of the ring pointing down are pegs, and these are pegs, so I don't know how that's supposed to fit together. Male to male connection there. That also seems like that's not quite right, so I'm not sure about that. But here you can see like what you can do with those effect parts. Kind of attach those parts into there first, and you can attach all the rest of your effect parts around that. Form 1, Form 2, and Form 3. Very interesting. There's a hole in the male peg in here. Jordan is saying, I'm trying to explain how this is used. It's basically hollow. This part's not hollow, and the other one wasn't hollow, was it? On there, was it? I don't know. I'll check it out in the review, but okay. Yeah, it's just the illustration. Oh, okay. Yeah, the illustration is sort of deceiving. That's why. Okay. I can see what it's doing now. Okay. Yeah, I got it. Right. Okay. Anyway, thank you guys for joining today. I hope that you all enjoyed. What are we at now? Just over 2 hours, so not too bad. About a 2-hour assembly. Obviously, there was some more. There was a couple of hours of work done ahead of time, getting everything all prepared. As I mentioned before, in case you guys missed it, yes, there are almost everything is all undergated. So, you know, love it or hate it. I'm honestly kind of indifferent to parts being undergated. We have a bunch of stickers here too, which, yeah, that's what I wanted to check in the manual. If it shows where the stickers are meant to go. It does, okay. And it actually shows in color, which is interesting here in the manual. So you have like stickers for the eyes, the head cameras, and there's a couple of bits here and there. So I'll put these stickers on later, I guess, because yeah, some of these could be good just for like little camera bits. And you have these in both like aqua blue and green, which I guess green would probably match well with those, but I don't know. I might mix it up a little bit, do some in blue and some in green. And then your decals, which let me see. Yeah, the decals say glory, but the effect parts I think also come with decals, wasn't it? Oh no, not the. I was thinking like I remember it says Stargazer on something. It actually says Stargazer on the base. That is included with the effect parts, which has this big tube, which is like springing out here and making a big mess. But yeah, I have to figure this out because there's not really instructions, or there is like very basic instructions for the LED set, which I might, if one of you guys know, if you've seen anywhere online where there's a little bit better instructions for the LED set, send me a link or something, because that would be helpful. The instructions that are included in here are very basic. Yes. Any fitting issues? No, not really. Like I said, the fit is definitely a little bit different from like your standard like Bandai kit. If you build a lot of Bandai kits, you might notice it's a little bit different feel to it, but not bad by any means, and it's fine. If anything, those parts are a little bit tight, and that's, like I said, it's better that the parts be a little bit too tight than a little bit too loose, so it's not an issue. All right. Yes, there is an LED set for this. So yeah, I'm going to review it. I'll probably be working on the review for this tomorrow. Not sure if I will have it out for you guys to view tomorrow. If not, then at the very latest, I would imagine Friday. But let's see. Like I said, I do want to also put the decals on and do some panel lining and stuff. So adding that all in, it may not be till like the beginning of next week that you guys will see the review for this. So I will try to have it out as soon as possible. But in the meantime, thank you guys for the time being, for checking out the live stream. Hope you enjoyed it. And make sure you tune in Friday. We'll be live streaming part 1 of the Zoids HMM Gojulus build. So check that out on Friday. All right. I'll see you guys then. Bye. Have a nice day.